Yo, yo, yo! What's up, everybody? Hermit style, we are here with Joku putting on a tutorial series for the Dragon Ball Super card game. This game can be a little difficult to pick up for new players, especially if you're not familiar with card games. So we put together a 3-part video series. This is the beginner video. This is where you should start. So if you haven't watched the others, you're in the right place. We have an intermediate one after this and then an advanced one. Each one, the decks get a little more intricate, and at the last level, we're playing a deck that you could actually take to a local tournament and maybe even do well with. I will be playing Vegeta. He will be playing Goku. We got the epic battle, Vegeta versus Goku. I'm excited, and if you like this and you want to play these decks, we're actually giving them away. We'll be giving away each deck. All you have to do is find 3 friends, tell them to subscribe to each of our channels, and send you the screenshot, then post it in the Hermit style Discord. The link is in the description below. You can jump in, post it in there, and if you're watching this, in 2 days, this Sunday, we're going to be doing the giveaway. And each deck, even the beginner variant, has an SCR. So for my version, there is a Frieza SCR in every single one. I mean, check out this card. There's 3 of these up for grabs, along with all the other cards that you'll see in these videos. I'm excited. Let's jump into it. Alright everybody, so welcome into game 1 of our 3-game tutorial series for the Dragon Ball Super card game. Again, we're just going to be showing you in this video the pure basics of how to play. We both built decks that are very, very simple, have very minimal effects, and actually a lot of the cards don't have any effects at all. We're just simply showing you how to play the game at its core. So right now, you can see on both of our screens we have a card that's already face up on the field. That is a leader card. So your leader card is one of the card types, and it is always on the board. So from the start of the game till the end of the game, your leader is always there. It has a front and it has a back side. So you will start with the leader on its front side, and your leader kind of dictates how you're going to play your deck. They have different effects that they have that will make some leaders really strong at different strategies. Like there's some leaders that have really strong aggressive strategies, while there's other leaders that have really strong control strategies. Additionally, they do, like I said, have that backside, and in order to get there, you have to activate what's called Awaken. And in order to awaken, you have to read your leader. Each one is going to have a different way to get there. In this case, the card on the bottom, the Goku, that will awaken when he has only 4 cards in his life area, or if he has a unison that costs 3 in play. Now, we will go into unisons in the next video. We actually don't have any in our decks to keep this video as simple as we possibly can. But in this video, you will see the awaken happen when we hit 4 cards in life. That being said, when you want to start the game, what you'll do is you'll shuffle up your decks and you will draw 6 cards. Now, once you draw your hand of 6 starting cards, you can actually send any number of them you would like back into your deck to mulligan. You can shuffle your deck up and then draw however many that you put in your hand back. So in this game, typically what you want to do is send back cards that you will not be using in the first few turns and keep the cards that you will be able to use. And we'll actually talk through some of that thinking and some of that thought process as we actually start the game. That being said, in order to determine who goes first, most players will roll a die. It has to be determined randomly, and whoever wins the die roll will actually have to go first. So you cannot choose to go first or second in this game. So most people will do a high roll and roll 2 6-sided die, and then whoever rolls the highest will get to start the game. Now, once you have shuffled and you've drawn your hand and you've mulliganed, you will also have to put down your life. So with life, they're actually cards from your deck that you put face down. Now, you start with 8 total cards in life, and should you hit 0 cards in your life, you lose the game. So that is the whole objective, is to attack your opponent, take their life, and put them to 0. Again, once you run out of life, you lose the game. So you can see here in the video, we are both drawing our hands, and although you can't see my hand too well, you can see a little bit of Joku's hand, so we'll talk a little bit about the cards that he has as well as we start going through this. But what you will probably notice is we know that we want cards that do something. Most of the cards, as you can see, have no text on them. So cards like that we call skillless cards in Dragon Ball because there's no skills on them. Since we know that most of our deck is skillless and there are a few cards that have skills, we're probably going to want to keep those cards with skills in this matchup because they're going to be pretty helpful for us here. Additionally, we would want to keep any cards you might be able to play on turn 1 or 2. The funny thing about these decks is I know his deck was filled with those 2-cost cards that you can see in his hand. So if I had to guess, he's probably going to send them all back, which he does. Okay, so he'll shuffle up and he'll actually draw 5 more cards, refilling his hand back to 6. And then once he does that, he will lay out his life area. Again, you always start with 8 life. Don't forget, if you forget, it is a game loss, so you don't want to do that. Always after you draw your mulligan, you lay your life out. But once you do that, you are ready to start the game. So while he shuffles and we finish setting up, the next thing we'll go over is how to actually read these cards and look at how to play them. So every single card has a number in the top left. It could be a 1, it could be a 2, it could be an 8. Whatever number that is, that's how many resources you have to use to play that card, okay? So let's talk a little bit about how we start our turn, because that's what you're about to see right now. When you start your turn, you will actually get to put 1 card from your hand upside down. You'll put it close to you, and that's actually called your energy. So when you put a card down in energy, the card is actually literally nothing but energy. It loses all of its skills, it loses its cost, it loses everything. All it becomes is an energy, or if you're familiar with other games, a mana, a resource, a card that you use to turn sideways to play other cards. So like we were just talking about with that number in the upper left-hand side of your card, that number is how many energy you need to play that card. So if you have, for example, a card that costs 1 in your hand, you could turn 1 of your energy sideways to play that card. Whereas if you have a card like you can see in his hand now that costs 2, you would need to have 2 energy to use that card. Now here's the thing. You can only put down an energy at the start of your turn, and you can only do that once per turn. So you can only put down 1 energy, and it has to be at the start of your turn. So you can see now we've started the game, we both have our life set up, and Johku has put down his first energy. Again, you want to make sure it's clear where your energy area is, and you want to make sure that that card is turned upside down so you don't confuse it with a card that's actually in play. Now for him, it looked like he didn't have any other cards in his hand that he could play. If he did have a card that cost 1, he would be able to play that there, but I don't think he did. The cool part about Dragon Ball is you can actually do things in any order. So some other games are a little bit more structured where you have to play cards, then attack, then end your turn, and they have very strict phases. With Dragon Ball, we have a charge phase, and then we have a main phase where you can choose to do anything you like in any order. I can play cards, I can attack, I can play more cards, I can attack again. I can do it in any order that I would like. As you can see on my side, to start my turn, I drew 1 card. You always draw 1 card. You always untap all of your cards so you can use them again. And you always put down an energy, or at least you always have the choice to put down an energy. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but typically, at least for the first few turns of the game, you definitely want to put an energy down. You don't want to skip any part of that charge phase. So That being said, what we're looking at now is I want to say, okay, I put down my energy. Now I want to say, do I have any cards that I can play? Or would I like to declare an attack? Remember, in Dragon Ball, you can do things in any order you would like. So at this point in the game, what's going to happen is I'm probably going to declare an attack first. And the reason I like to declare an attack first here is I don't like to show my opponent what I have or what I'm going to do. So yep, that's what happens. I declare an attack. So your leader card, to attack, all it has to do, and with really any card, you turn it sideways. And when I turn a card sideways, that's turning it from active mode into rest mode. So right now what I'm doing is I'm turning my leader sideways and declaring an attack on his leader. Now in Dragon Ball, you can always attack your opponent's leader card. Unless there's something that says you cannot, you can always attack their leader card. It does not matter if their leader card is in active mode. It does not matter if their leader card is in rest mode. You can always attack their leader card. And that's actually how you can attack them to get their life down. Remember, to win the game, we have to get their life from 8 to 0. So right here, again, I declare the attack, and my leader has 10,000 power. You can see where the power is on the bottom left-hand corner of the card. His leader also has 10,000 power. For the most part, the majority of leaders in the game start with 10,000. Now, when I declare the attack, what happens is I tell him I'm attacking his leader, and then he has the opportunity to counter. So if there's a card in your hand that says counter attack, you can actually use that to perform some type of skill. Many of them have the ability to stop the attack outright. In this case, he does have a counterattack in his hand, but what you'll notice is he does not play it. And the reason is because he actually wants this attack to go through. In the game of Dragon Ball, when you attack, if the damage goes through, you take the card from your life into your hand. So as the person being attacked, I want to get my life down to 4 so I can flip that leader over. Remember, our leaders get really strong when we flip them over to their backside. All right, so after he says no counters, no negates, or anything like that, I have the opportunity to combo. Now, if you look, what I'm showing in the video there is you can see a number on the side of the card. That number first will have a number with a circle around it, which you can see that Oob has a 0 with a circle around it. That's the cost to combo. And then you see a little plus and then a number afterwards. In Oob's case, it has 5,000. So when it's your turn to combo, you can combo as many cards as you would like from your hand, and that buffs up your attack. It makes it stronger. It's kind of just like in the show. It's your leader or whatever is attacking powering up. So you can combo to try and push an attack through to make sure your opponent will take the damage. The person who wins the battle, well, let me put it this way. If I'm attacking his leader, he has to combo enough cards that his power level is above mine. If it's below or the same, then the attacking card always wins. So, at this point in the battle, let's kind of recap. I declared an attack. He had the opportunity to counter. He said, no counters, no negates. At that point, I had the opportunity to combo. That's during my offense step. Now, Dragon Ball is really big on hand size. We want the biggest hand possible. Hand advantage is huge in this game. And because I know he's going to take this attack, I don't need to combo. There's no reason to. So I'll say no combos, and then priority shifts to him. It's his defense step, which he just said no combos, and you saw him take that life to his hand. That means my attack was successful. I took him down from 8 to 7 life, and he added one of his life cards to his hand. And that's essentially how battling works. Now, one important thing to note is the combos don't go back and forth. So if I combo a card, I can't decide to combo a card, then he combos a card, and then I combo again. It doesn't go back and forth like that. I have one opportunity during my offense step to combo as many cards as I would like. And then once I say I'm done comboing, then it's on him to the defense step. And then he decides how many cards he would like to combo, if he would like to get out of the attack or not. And then once he has decided that, if he will not combo or if he will, then the battle is done. If the attacking card had the same or higher power, the attacking card wins that battle. All right, so now what we're seeing is the first battle card get played. So this is the next card type that we'll talk about, a battle card. A battle card gets played to your battle area. And remember when we talked about the cost in the upper hand left side? You can see that Shu costs 1 energy. So for 1 energy, what I did was I turned my energy sideways, and then I placed him onto the board. Now you'll also notice there's a small red circle by Shu. The card that he's showing in his hand has a small blue circle. What the circle indicates is what color energy I need to use. So for Shu, he's a red 1 cost card that requires that 1 card to be red. So you'll see my energy was red that I tapped. If I had, say, a blue colored energy, I can't play Shu because that energy is blue. So the 1 is how many cards I need to switch to rest mode in my energy to play it. And the circle is what color that energy needs to be. As long as I can fulfill all those requirements, I can use my energy and play my card to the board. Now at this point, if I wanted, I could attack, but I know he would gain more advantage, and then he could actually attack my battle card. So here, I'm just going to pass turn to him. Now to start his turn, he draws a card, and then charges an energy. So he puts another card from his hand upside down. You'll notice that Deborah costs 3. The reason he put that in energy is because he can't use it right now. It's of no use. It costs 3 energy. He only has 2. So he decided to charge that card since at this point, it's really not doing anything sitting in his hand. So let's recap a little bit. We've got the energy in the top left-hand side. The number is how many energy you have to turn to rest mode to play the card. The colored circle is what color that energy needs to be. When I play a battle card, it moves to my battle area. And I have the opportunity, if I would like, when I have battle cards, I can attack with them. No different than when my leader attacked. I can also attack with battle cards. What you will probably see is not many battle card attacks in the beginning because, again, all that's going to do is give my opponent cards and give him a target to attack that isn't my leader. So you'll see that he does the same thing that I did. He declares an attack on my leader. I say I have no counters, no negates. Now he has the opportunity to combo. But in the same thought process as me, he's not going to waste cards out of his hand to buff up an attack. And ultimately, he knows I'm going to take that damage. Now, one thing we haven't talked about yet is the skills on our leader cards. So you'll see that Goku has a blue keyword skill. I know it was a little blurry, but it says auto. And that auto said when this card attacks, you get to draw a card. So anytime you attack, you want to make sure you declare your auto and draw that card. The really cool part about that is even if your opponent negates the attack and stops it, your auto still happens. So as long as you declare that attack, you always get to draw that card, which is really cool. And remember, we are all about drawing cards and making our hands bigger, and that's the main reason why we're using our leader cards to attack. So you'll see he just tapped 2 energy to play a Tapion. Now that Tapion had 2 blue circles. That means both the energy he had to turn to rest mode had to be blue. He also chose not to attack with it and then pass the turn back to me. So now it's on me, and it's my charge phase. So I get to draw my card, I get to untap everything, and I get to put a card upside down in my energy to use this turn and move up to 2 energy. So another thing to keep in mind is when we're looking at battle cards, if a battle card does attack and a battle card is in rest mode, it can be attacked by any card on the board, and they don't have summoning sickness. So if I play a battle card, if I want to, I can attack with it that same turn. Now what you'll see me do, similarly to his play, is I charge Dabu. It's a 3-drop. It's just not really playable right now, so he goes to energy. Now at this point, what I'm likely going to do is structure my turn very similarly and start by declaring an attack on my leader. Remember, I don't have to do that. If I want it, I could do anything. I could play a card if I want it, but ultimately, I don't want to reveal my strategy to my opponent if I don't have to. I want to keep as much knowledge away from him as possible. So before I show any cards that I would play, I'm going to declare that attack, and I will attack his leader. Important to note, if I wanted to attack his battle card, I could not, because his battle card is standing upright in active mode. I can only attack battle cards if they are in I can only attack battle cards if they're in rest mode. If they've been tapped and turned sideways, that's the only time I can attack a battle card. So his leader is my only target. I'll attack his leader. I declare my auto. I draw my card. And then at this point, again, I'm not going to combo. I'm not going to waste cards in my hand. I am all about trying to keep as many cards in my hand as possible. He had no negates. I had no combos. He's not going to combo either, and he takes the damage. So now he is down to 6 life. What you'll notice is these games will progress a little bit slower, and as we move up to some of the more experienced decks, they will move a little bit quicker because our cards will do more things that will allow us to speed the game up a little bit. With mainly having skillless cards in deck, what you're going to see this game is us try to build a board. And what I mean by that is we're going to keep playing battle cards, but not attack with them. So that way, when it is time to attack, we can go for a really, really big swing turn. So I tap 2 and play my favorite skillless card, Natade Village Monster. I mean, come on. Look at that guy. He looks so dope. You'll see that he did have the 2 red circles, which means both my energy had to be red, which they were, to use to play him. And I did turn them sideways to put him on the board. At that point, there isn't much left to do. So again, I'll likely just pass turn back to him. Each color typically has similar skillless cards, so we built our decks very similarly. That way, we knew we were both kind of doing the same thing. All right, so I've now passed turn over to him. To start his turn in his charge phase, again, he is going to draw a card, untap his energy, untap his leader, switch them all to active mode. That way they're all ready to be used again. So we see that happen now. And sorry guys, I know sometimes I go a little bit ahead or a little bit behind. I'm doing my best to commentate. We're playing at a really slow speed, so I'm trying to pace my commentary around our play and give you a little bit of a different experience than what you got in Joku's video. That being said, he has 3 energy. So I believe at this point he will likely be looking to play a 3-drop skillless card because they are a little bit stronger. You'll notice the 1-drop shoe was 10,000, our 2 drops were 20,000 power, which means when they attack, it's going to be harder for our opponent to get out of. Now we see Johku start his turn and structure it very similarly. He declares his attack, says auto, draws his card, and then I have the opportunity to negate. I do not. He does not combo. I don't either, and I took the damage. Now, just like we thought, he did tap 3 energy to play his Deborah, and as you can see, that Deborah is 30,000. One thing that's interesting to note here is that Deborah costs 3, but there's only 2 blue circles. That means that 2 of the energy have to be blue, but the 3rd one can be any color. So if he had 2 blue and a red, he could still play that card. But at least 2 of the 3 energy he used had to be blue. So you'll see I start my turn. Again, charge phase, I draw, switch all my cards back to active mode so they're ready to be used again, and I'm ready to go. So we're going to see another very similar turn. I'm likely going to attack with my leader, draw my card, and push him to 5 life. Now remember what we've talked about. We want to be at 4. Once we're at 4, that's when you're going to see both of us start going the defense a little bit, because that's when it gets scary. Our leader's now more powerful. We got what we wanted, and we're going to want to start stabilizing and staying at 4 life. So I attack with my leader, just like we thought. I auto draw my card. He does not negate. I don't combo. He doesn't combo either. He takes the damage. And now he's at 5. So I tap 3, and now I play my full power Frost. Just like his Deborah, it's just a 3-drop skillless red card. Now I'm in an interesting spot. If I wanted to, I could push him this turn. I could attack with my Shoe, make him go to 4 life, and then attack with my Dinosaur, my Village Monster, and I could attack with my full power Frost and start burning some cards out of his hand, because he's likely going to have to start defending those attacks, which could be pretty big for me. Here's the problem. If I were to declare an attack with my battle cards, I'm not at 4 life either, and now he can start spending his turns trying to clear my battle cards off the board. And ultimately what that will do is starve me of cards and keep me unawakened. That's not where I want to be. So I ultimately decide to pass turn back to him and let him go. So again, charge phase, he draws a card, switches all of his cards back to active mode, and he's still going to charge an energy. At this point in the game, we really want to build up energy so we have options for more cards to play. Like I said, there are times where you will want to stop charging, but it certainly isn't here, at least not with these decks. Now currently I'm still at 6 life. One thing important to note that we didn't talk about early on, if you go first, typically I refer to the person who goes first to start the entire game as the player that's on the play. If the player that is, whoever is on the play, you do not get to draw to start your turn. That way you don't get an unfair advantage by going first, and you also don't get to attack. The player going second gets to do all the normal things. Anyways, let's get back on track. He's at 4 energy now, declares his attack with his leader. I take the hit. We don't have to go through the whole spiel again. I think you guys get it. And he decides to pass turn. So very interesting that he passes turn here. The reason he kept all of his energy up, well, let's say it differently. When I see that all of his energy up, that signals to me that he has some kind of negate he wants to use this turn. He wants to keep that energy readied so he can make a powerful play during my turn. So that was pretty smart that he was able to see that far ahead to do that. So now I have different choices to make. One choice is I know he's probably going to try and shut my turn down, so I could try to get as much value as possible by first swinging with my Shoe to try and get him to 4 life, and then swing with my leader, get the draw, and try to push him past that if he doesn't have the negate. Maybe he's bluffing. Ultimately, I don't think he's bluffing. What I'm likely going to do here is attack with my leader first and just get him to 4 life. Because remember, I'm at 5. If I attack with Shoe, that gives him a target that isn't my life, and again, he can starve me of cards and hold me at 5 life. I don't want that to happen. I want him to be able to attack my leader. I also don't want to miss out on my draw. So what I do here is I attack his leader, I draw 1 card, and let him go to 4 life. The other option I had here was just not to attack and pass turn, but I did want to draw that card to try and keep up here. Now, what's really interesting is our leaders have 2 different things they do when they awaken. Every leader's awaken skill can be different. My leader, when he awakens, he actually gets to switch 2 of my energy in rest mode back to active. That gives me a really big explosive turn where I can play more cards. His awaken turn is a little different. When he awakens, he actually gets to draw 2 cards. So his leader will try to amass more advantage by building up that hand, whereas my leader is going to try and build up a board. The unfortunate part about this matchup is his leader also, which you will see soon, has the ability to untap energy. So knowing that he has the ability to untap energy really gives his leader a big advantage here, especially when we're playing these watered down decks. But again, this is just for demo and tutorial purposes. Doesn't really matter. Ultimately, this is just to help everyone watching this video learn how to play the Dragon Ball Super card game and also get a little more insight into why we make the plays we are making. All right, so I've attacked with my leader. I've gotten him to 4 life. Ultimately, that was what I wanted to do. I could start attacking with my battle cards and push him, but it just doesn't make sense here. So likely what I will do is try to build a board and start really getting my advantage up. So I tap 2 for a village monster and I tap 2 for another village monster. Now I did have an alternative play I could make here, which in a lot of cases would make more sense. I know next turn he's going to try and have a big turn. I know he's going to try and push me. So I could have left 2 energy up so I could negate with Topo. But here's the thing. I already know in this matchup I'm behind. I already know Soul Striker, the leader he's playing, has a huge advantage. So I'm trying to build the biggest board possible in the hopes that when I do go in, he can't shut my turn down. I know he probably will, but we have to take our shot when we can. I also feel pretty confident that he can't kill me this turn. Maybe he could, but I really don't think he can. I'm also okay going down to 2 life because I have a secret rare, which you guys saw in the beginning of this video, that activates at 2 life. So I don't necessarily mind going to 2. I just don't want to do it too early and essentially kill myself in the game. All right, so we've passed turn. He starts his turn as charge phase. He untapped all of his cards. Again, I will say tap or untap to reference turning a card sideways or not. In Dragon Ball, we technically should use the terms active mode, which means a card is upright, or rest mode, which means it's turned sideways. Tap and untap, I use those words interchangeably, and you will hear those words used a lot when you're out playing. So it's good that you understand these phrases. Okay, so we just saw a big thing. He awakened. So he's at 4 life. You can only awaken either at any point during your turn. You can use it when you are not in a battle. You can also use it during a battle when you have priority. So if you're attacking, you can do it while you're on your offense step, or you can also do it defensively during your opponent's turn once they pass priority to you for you to combo out. In this case, he awakened at the first possible opportunity, which was after he charged, which is correct. You always want to charge quickly. Now you'll notice something different happened here. He played a card first. That's because his leader just became really strong. When Goku attacks, not only does his auto let him draw a card, it also lets him untap 2 of his energy. It lets him switch 2 of his energy to active mode. That is huge. Drawing 1 and switching those 2 energy, that is huge. So you'll notice he tapped 3 energy, played his Deborah first. That way he could get all the value possible out of his leader swing. So when his leader just attacked now, he was able to switch 2 of his energy to active mode. So this looks like it could be kind of rough for me. I'm sitting at 5 life. He's already presenting 4 attacks on board. Remember, he's at 4 life now, so he's definitely going to start swinging with those battle cards. There's a chance I should have left 2 up for that Topo, but we're playing a little risky. We're trying to make up for the advantage that we lost because remember, his leader drew 2 cards, ours doesn't draw 2 cards, and ours doesn't untap energy when ours attacks. So we have to try and do as much as we can to get some kind of advantage. So if I can keep more cards on the board than him, maybe it'll help me. We'll see if that strategy pans out or not. But ultimately, he's attacking my leader here. And in our video, we're kind of going over the thought process of what I just described. In my opinion, what I'm going to have to do here is take the life. If I don't take the life and I don't go to 4, it gives him an opportunity to just pass the turn back to me and starve my awaken for another turn and stop me from awakening. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to take that risk. I got to go to 4 life. So now he's seeing the green light. He knows it's time to push me. I'm tapped out. I'm at 4 life. He has to go in right now. He really wants to try and get me as low life as possible. So what he's going to do is declare the first battle card attack of the game. Now, when he does this, he's going to turn that battle card sideways and then declare that attack on my leader. So when he declares the attack on the leader with a battle card, it's no different. It'll go to me, and I'll say no counters. It'll then go back to him, where he could combo if he would like to make this attack more powerful. At that point, priority will pass back to me, and then I have to make a really tough decision here. I have to decide defensively, do I awaken and untap one energy, or do I hold my awaken for the next turn? This is a really tough call. If he has another 3-drop Deborah in his hand, I could be in really big trouble. If he doesn't have that 3-drop Deborah in his hand, I could be fine. So it really depends on how I'm feeling in this instance. I know that he's already charged 1 Deborah. He's already played 2. Looking back on it, I probably should not awaken. I'm pretty sure I do in this game, just to show that it was, just to show another way to awaken during the defense step, and also give a little bit of a rationale. When I awaken, my leader gets stronger. You'll notice both our leaders now have 15,000 power. This means for me to combo out of his attacks will be a little bit easier. So that's another advantage of doing this. Now, with this attack, he didn't combo. He passed priority to me. I awakened during my defense step. Now I have to combo because I don't want to just awaken for no reason. I'm sorry, I switched 2 of my energy to active mode when I awaken, and my leader became a 15k. So now I need to get above 20,000 to successfully defend this attack. What I'm going to do here is combo. This is the first time we've seen a combo in the game. So I use TN. TN is a super combo. You'll see that he has a 0 combo cost. That's that first number in the circle. And then it says plus 10,000. So that gives my leader 10,000 power for the battle. You'll also notice that I drew a card. TN is pretty cool. He has an auto that says when you combo with this card, draw 1 card. So now it's like that attack just never happened. And now I have 2 energy back up and ready for me to use a topo if I want to. What you'll also notice is, again, I didn't take the life because I successfully defended the attack. And I didn't over combo. There's no reason to combo more once you exceed the attacking card strength. So now Johku has a decision. He can keep pushing, or he can leave those cards in active mode. Ultimately, there's no reason not to push here. He's going to attack. He's going to try and push my leader. Now I also have a decision to make. I can tap 2 and use a topo, but honestly, I don't know if it really makes sense. I may do it just for teaching purposes, just to show how a negate's played. I might have got impatient and just wanted to do it. But realistically, talking about the game and looking back at it, there isn't much of a reason to topo here. I know that he's likely just going to either play a 4th Deborah or play a 2-drop or just leave his energy open. I'm not really in any threat to get killed now because I was able to successfully defend that Tapion attack. There's a small chance maybe he tries to push, but I don't think he would. So I think the correct play here would be to take the life, but we'll see what I actually do in the game. Oh, okay, cool. So I had an after image technique. I completely forgot about this. So this is actually another really cool play I just made. So after image technique is a counterattack, and this is the first counterattack we've seen in the game. Remember, before combos happen, when your opponent declares an attack, you have the opportunity to counter. So I use the first counterattack of the game. It's a 1 cost, so I tap 1 energy for it. And after image technique gives a card 40,000 power. So I give that 40,000 power to my leader, and then I get to choose one of his cards and subtract 10,000 power from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to subtract 10,000 power from the one he attacked with. I'm going to subtract 10,000 power from the Deborah that is still in active mode. That way when he attacks with that Deborah, it only has 20,000 power, and it'll be much easier for me to combo out of if I want to stay at 4 life. One thing I have to remember is he plays cards that will stop my turn now. If he plays those cards, I can't play into them foolishly and be at a low life total. So at this point, the route I've decided to go is try and preserve my life sum and extend this game out. So because my leader was so big, the 40,000 made it a 55 to my opponent's 30. He's not going to combo that high. So that alone stopped my opponent from comboing. So he says no combos, I say no combos, because my leader is bigger than his Deborah. Now what you just saw here was he still attacked with the second Deborah that I subtracted the power from, and I decided to take the hit. I did not want to lose 2 cards out of my hand. Another thing to note here is I'm pretty safe. Even if he decided to push that turn, there's no way he could do 3 more damage on me based off the decks that we're playing. They're too basic. If you're playing a more advanced deck, that's a lot more dangerous. But with these decks, I kind of know what they're going to do. It's mainly just skillless cards. He had 4 energy. At best, he plays 2 2-drops to attack twice. But ultimately, he decides to leave 4 energy up and pass turn. Now, leaving 4 energy up is another huge tell that he has a big negate to use in his hand. Otherwise, I know he would have played a 2-drop skillless card. So in my head, I start thinking about what cards cost 3 and 4 energy that he could negate with. There's a lot of pretty good ones. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to structure my turn in a way where I won't just play into it. I don't want to attack with a battle card first still, because if he does play a card that stops my turn, I'm not going to get the draw off of my leader's attack. So what I'm likely going to do here is declare an attack with my leader first, just like I've done all game, and see what happens. I also now have a lot of decisions to make. There's 4 different targets I could attack. I could attack his Tapion, either of his Deborahs, or I could attack his leader. Now my leader is only 15,000 power, so if I did want to attack a battle card, I would have to combo up just to try and kill them. That's not worth me losing cards from hand because I know his hand is already bigger than mine. So ultimately what I'm going to do here is opt to attack his leader card. And if he has the negate, I'm going to force him to play it here. And I'm going to force him to play it when I know my battle cards are safe. And what I mean by safe is they're still in active mode. Alright, so what we see is he negates with a Dimension Magic. This is a good sign. Dimension Magic costs 1 energy. It's a counterattack similar to what I did last turn with After Image technique. You tap 1 energy, switch it to rest mode, and this one's really powerful because it gets to switch 2 energy back to active mode afterwards. So by using that card, you'll see he actually now has another energy available to him to use. This means one of 2 things. He did not have the 4-drop negate, or he wasn't confident that that would do enough. So he wanted another energy up and ready just in case he needed to use it that turn and not have to tap out. We'll see what happens, but either way, this is good for me. This means I get another chance to try and attack him, and it presents another decision. I can try to start attacking his battle cards and clear his board, or I can attack his leader. Again, because of the matchup, I know that I have to play a little bit faster than him. I can't really waste time attacking his board when his leader untaps energy and he can quickly play more cards than me and build his hand up. I have to do something to pressure him. So that is likely the line I'm going to take here, and I'll attack with my dinosaur and I'll attack into his leader. So remember when I declare the attack, he now has the opportunity to negate or activate a counterattack. Let's see if he does. Oh man, and yep, there's Vegeta ready to rumble. This negate is actually one of my favorites. I've used this negate in high-level competitive play in regional settings. It's really strong. It's a 4-drop, and it has a keyword skill called Blocker. You'll notice the blocker is in red. I know the picture's a little blurry, but that's what it says. It costs 4 energy, so it is pretty costly, but now in order for me to declare any more attacks for the turn, his auto, and remember auto is that blue word, says when this card is played, I have to put 1 of my energy in my drop area just to declare an attack. So in order for me to declare an attack, I would have to go from 5 energy down to 4. That's rough. I really don't want to have to do that because, again, my opponent untaps 2 energy. He already has a ton more access to resources than I do. I want to be able to play as many cards as possible, and the strongest card in my deck costs 5 energy. I need to be there. And the worst part is it has blocker. Blocker means when I declare an attack, he has the opportunity to block and redirect the attack to that battle card. That's very powerful. That means in order for me to get this attack through, I not only have to kill one energy off, but if he blocks it, I have to attack again just to try and pressure him and go down to 3 energy. It's simply just not worth it. What I'm likely going to do is just pass turn here. Because we have a blocker, one thing I want to go over now is the order that happens when the attack goes through. I know we've talked about attacking, your opponent having the opportunity to counter, you comboing offensively, and then your opponent comboing defensively. But there's another layer to all this. When you declare an attack, remember there's that auto that says draw a card. Here's the real way that works. When I declare an attack, I declare my auto. Before my auto resolves, my opponent has to choose whether or not they're going to negate. After they negate, that is when my auto resolves and I draw my card. Once that happens, my opponent can then declare blocker. So that's the order that all of that will happen in. And I know that's a lot to take in, so don't worry. We're going to go through that again as the game goes on. And we'll keep walking through those steps so it starts to feel a little bit more instinctive and a little bit more natural. Now what you saw I did on the end of my turn was I just simply played one battle card. Remember, we need to build that board, but now I'm getting a little scared. His board's getting big, his hand advantage is getting big, and he just played another 3-drop. That's pretty rough. So I want to make sure I have access to energy so I can use some of my own powerful negates to hopefully shut his turn down. If I were to tap out there and play another 3-drop, I would probably just lose the game. Alright, so he declares the attack, he declares his auto, I say no negates, he resolves his auto, draws a card, and switches 2 energy back to active mode. At that point, I don't have any cards that blocker, but I do have my Topo negate. Now this card is really cool because he does cost 4, but you'll notice I only paid 2 energy for him. He has a permanent. Permanent is that pinkish purplish keyword that you can see in the middle of the text. And it says during my opponent's turn, I reduce the cost of that card in my hand by 2. So now he only costs 2 energy. That's really solid. And then second, he says counter attack. I can choose one card in my hand and discard it and play him. Not bad. So now he's a battle card that actually negated the attack. But even better, after I choose one card and pitch it and negate the attack and play that card, he has an auto. You can see that auto, it's the blue word towards the bottom. His auto says, when you play this card, when your opponent was going to attack, they have to pitch. And by pitch, I mean put in the drop. They have to send 2 cards from their hand to the drop area just to attack. And that's for the rest of the opponent's turn. That's crazy. Remember, I'll reference what I said way back in the beginning of this video. Dragon Ball is all about hand advantage. Hand advantage is a huge aspect of this game. For him to have to cough up 2 cards, that's a lot. Likely what will happen is the same thing that happened when he played his Vegeta Ready to Rumble. That effect is just too powerful. It's not worth it for him to lose that kind of advantage. He's probably just going to pass the turn back to me. At least that's what we're hoping. And if my Topo is successful, I'll have another shot to try and pressure him again next turn. We just have to hope he doesn't have the second Ready to Rumble. If he does, we're in some trouble. All right, so, and again, guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with what we're talking about in the video. But remember, so you can get all different aspects of this game, go check out Joku's video as well once you're done watching this one if you have not already. His video has the actual audio of both of us conversing during the game. So you'll get to hear an entirely different aspect and hear ourselves actually in the game in that moment talking about what to do. But let's get back to it. Basically, it was exactly what I said. He ended his turn and passed it over to me. So he did leave that energy up. That does signal to me, okay, he's probably got another Vegeta. Otherwise, he would have put some of that energy to use. But we never know. We have to try. So we untap everything, we draw our card. Now you notice I did not charge an energy. He has hand advantage on me. I don't remember at this point in the game how many more cards in hand he had than me, but it was enough that me putting that card down in energy was too much of a risk. I have to try and keep up with hand size here. The problem is, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If I charge and go lower down in hand advantage, what it does allow me is more energy if I wanted to try and attack through a Ready to Rumble. But he's at 4 life. It's still just not really worth it for me. I have to try and make up this spread. And, maybe he doesn't have it. We are playing watered down decks. I don't know how many he plays. Maybe he only has 2 or 3. So what we're going to do is structure our turn just like the last one. If he does have it, we're going to bait it out. I attack with my leader, make sure I can declare that auto and get my draw. I always want to draw that card. If I were to attack with a battle card first, it would be really rough because then to attack with my leader, I'd have to pay up that energy because he did have the second Vegeta Ready to Rumble. So you see him tap 4 energy and play it to the board. But remember, with our counterattacks, they can be extra cards, which was like the After Image technique and the Dimension Magic that cost 1 energy earlier in the game, or they can also be battle cards. As long as you see that green skill that says counterattack, you can use that when your opponent declares an attack on you. All right, so he plays his Ready to Rumble. This really sucks. I'm feeling really rough right now. I'm not sure what to do, but at least I can finally play my big boo. You'll notice that he's a little bit stronger than the other 3 drops you've seen. He has an additional 5,000 power. That's because he has a caveat. He has a permanent that says this card has to be played in rest mode. So unfortunately, I can't attack or do anything with him the turn he's played, but he's so big, he's pretty safe in this matchup. So I feel pretty comfortable at this point putting him down. Now I leave 2 energy up and pass turn back to Johku. Does 2 energy, again, just like he had a little bit of a tell to me that he had the Ready to Rumble, this signals to him, okay, he probably has another Topo. Which, I'll give you a spoiler, I do. So you'll see him structure his turn very similarly. Remember, his leader untaps energy, so he's always going to use that first before he attacks. After he plays a battle card, he's going to declare an attack, declares his auto. I will negate with Topo. I'll discard 1 card, and my auto will go off. When I play this card, my opponent can't attack unless they put 2 cards from their drop. And remember, his auto will resolve as well. So he will get to draw that card and switch 2 of his energy back to active mode. Now, this is a really interesting point in the game. And this, honestly, may have been a misplay on my part. And actually, I think it was. What I should have done here is not negated that first attack. I should have let it go through. I should have put myself to 2 life because when I'm at 2 life, it allows me to play my secret rare. My secret rare, I have to be at 2 life to get its effect, but it's extremely powerful. And if he doesn't have another Vegeta Ready to Rumble in hand, there's a potential I could win next turn very easily. But ultimately, I decided to negate with Topo. And I think this was the point in the game where I took any chance of myself winning away. He does have hand advantage over me, so at this point he could decide to start coughing up cards to attack, but it really doesn't make sense. He knows he's playing the better deck, he knows that he has access to more, and he doesn't need to take any risk by attacking and pitching cards out of his hand. So what we're going to see him do likely here is build up a board the best he can, leave energy open for his negates, and then pass turn back to me. And man, that board is looking scary. He's got 2 cards that can block my attacks, and he's got a ton of other battle cards. But it's just like we thought. He's going to pass turn back to me. So now I'm on the turn. I untap everything. I've got a lot more cards now. I got a little messy there. I had to straighten them up. It's important to always have a clean playing area. That way your opponent knows what's going on. And yeah. One thing I haven't mentioned throughout this game, I know it's a little late, But you'll notice the cards that we've discarded are in a very designated area. You can see his Dimension Magic on his side, and you can see my After Image technique on my side. They're right by our decks, and those are our drop areas. We want to make sure it's pretty clear to our opponent where the drop area is. Alright, so we start the turn off, I attack, and we just pray there's no Ready to Rumble, and he had the third one, so ultimately it didn't matter too much. I don't think I still would have won, even if I could have played the SCR there. I'm limited in how many times I could attack him. He would have access to Dimension Magic still, and it probably just still would have been rough for me. I don't think I could attack enough times to push that damage through, but this game would have been a lot closer. So I do regret doing that. And this is the really cool part about Dragon Ball. Even at the most basic level, it's very skill intensive, and there's a lot of different plays and a lot of different play lines you can make, even when you're playing decks that are mostly skillless. Now with that third Ready to Rumble coming down, I still don't want to attack. At this point, there's actually no reason to. If I were to attack, I have to get through 3 blockers. That means just to be able to attack his leader, I would have to go down to 2 energy and declare 3 attacks. That's so much value wasted. I would then essentially just say I lost the game and have no chance of winning. So I want to try and give myself some chance. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to likely play a battle card. And what I'm talking about here is I don't have another topo in my hand. I had charged 1, which that could have been a misplay, but here's the thing. I have to discard a card for topo. Realistically, I did not go into this game wanting to have to play 3 topos. Unfortunately, he had 3 Ready to Rumbles, and that's just how the cookie crumbled. But I don't really want to play more than 2 because the hand advantage I lose from it is huge. That being said, I end up passing turn because I know this turn's going to be rough. I want to have access to all my energy in the hopes that I will get a topo, in the hopes that I will draw an After Image, whatever I can do to try and stay alive. The good part is I have a lot of battle cards on board, and any battle card that's in active mode, you can use to combo during your defense step, or if you're attacking when you're on your offense step. So I do have a good amount of combo power on the board. Alright, and we see a very similar turn. He taps 2, he plays a skillless card, and he declares his attack with his leader. There's nothing new here. His auto goes into pending. I say no negates. His auto resolves. He untaps his 2 energy, draws his card. At this point, he decides if he's going to combo. If he wants, he could start buffing up these attacks if I didn't negate. Let's see what he does. And one thing I'm going over here too is I don't necessarily want to lose hand advantage, but you have to decide where you're at in the game and what's more important. Is it more important to me to hold my board, or is it more important for me to hold hand advantage over my opponent? And that really goes to, you have to evaluate the situation. You have to evaluate how powerful are the cards on my board and how useful are they. Now he did choose to combo, and you'll notice that he makes his combo very clear. He turns it sideways and he puts it in the middle area of his board, and he puts it near his leader. That makes it very clear to me that he's comboing. And you'll see I did what we just talked about. I comboed a card off my board. That shoe has only 10,000 power. He really is just a pawn at this point. He doesn't do anything for me. He's not strong enough to kill any of his cards. So I'm just going to combo him off. That puts my leader to 20,000, which matches his. And now I only need to combo 1 more card. So I combo a second shoe from my hand, another pawn, and then I put them both in my drop area. I'm not wasting battle cards yet, because if I somehow miraculously live through this turn, I'm going to need every single attack I can get. So you're going to see me try and preserve a lot of those cards that are on my board here. Alright, now we see him attack with his 2-drop. This is a really strong play. You don't just want to open up with your strong attacks, you want to save those for later when they're more meaningful. So he attacks with his 2-drop, and he combos 1 card and puts it up to 25,000. Now this is the first time that we've seen us use energy to combo. That Scientist Fu, that black card, it has a 1 by it. That 1 with the circle means I had to tap 1 energy in order to use it in a combo. Every other combo up to now was a 0. That means it's free. It costs 0 energy. But this one costs 1. So I had to switch one of those energy to rest mode just to put him in my combo area. The upside is he gives 10,000 power. So that 10,000 power boosted my leader to 25, which matched his. And then I combo one more card out of hand, a 0 for 5k. And when I say 0 for 5k, that means it looks just like that. 0 plus 5,000. So when I had the 1 for 10k and the 0 for 5k, that effectively boosted my leader up to 30,000 and pushed it above his 25 so I could defend the attack and not take the life. Now we see that he attacked again. I did not have a negate. He did not combo. And I opted to combo out of the attack. What really stinks here is I have to combo 2 cards to get out of these 20,000 power swings. That's really rough. Now every attack, he's generating huge advantage over me in my hand, and my hand can't take it anymore. So now he's forced me to start comboing cards off my board. So I combo off 2 of my topos. All right, now at this point, he's taken me down. I only have 3 cards in hand. My board is getting small. He has advantage on me in essentially every area. He has more energy, more battle cards, and more cards in hand. At this point, I have to pray that my next life is going to be a card I can actually use to maybe save this turn. Realistically, I know that means it's my 4th topo. The chances of finding it are slim, but it's probably all I've got. And he can smell blood. He knows I haven't negated it yet, so he feels pretty safe to start swinging in with his 30Ks. He has 4 30k swings, and I'm only at 3 life. This is a smart play. This means that he can now start forcing me to just take these damage and save more cards for more combo power. So at this point, he likely didn't combo because he's already 15,000 power above me. That's a lot, and I only have 3 cards in hand. So he doesn't really need to combo or put cards out of his hand unnecessarily, and that was smart. I take the card to my hand. I could have comboed out, but ultimately, I just throw the whole game if I do that. I need to hope that that card I just picked up was a topo. And I fake it like I'm going to tap 2 for topo, but unfortunately, I didn't have it. All right, so he swings in. We're going to see if he opts to combo here. It may not be the worst idea for him to combo and just push this up a little bit, but it really doesn't matter too much. In order for me to get out of this, if I use cards on board, he's going to take away 4 of my battle cards. If he wanted to try and clear my board, he could push it up to 40,000 and just say, let your whole board go away. But we'll see what he opts to do here. All right, so he doesn't combo, and now I do have to combo 4 cards off my board from play and put them in my drop area, effectively getting my leader to 35,000, and now I'm really hurting. I've got 2 cards on board, only 3 or 4 cards in hand. This is really rough. So he attacks, and I top deck the after image technique. It wasn't the negate we wanted, but this is really helpful. So I am able to buff my leader by 40,000 and minus 10,000 power to another card. So now he attacks with his Deborah. There's no reason for him to try and combo up over that. And he sees what I'm going to do. Now I've only got 2 cards on board, so for me to combo out, I'm going to have to go down to 1 card in hand. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what I do here. I've lost the game at this point. There is no coming back. Even if I take this life and it's topo, he can now easily attack through topo, discard 2 cards, and just go to kill me. I do think he may have wanted to attack with a ready to rumble, just because he knew he was going to win this turn once he didn't see a floodgate early. He could have saved those extra 30k swings for when I was down to 1 life. And I know I'm in trouble, so I combo out here. I did use the after image to neg his Deborah at 10, so notice I only had to combo 2 cards there. So that saved a little bit of face for me, but ultimately, it's not going to be enough. He smells blood. He's going to start swinging in with the cards that can block. So now I have an option. I can decide to defend or not. I decide to defend. This is actually a really strong play, because he only has 2 attacks left from what I see. If he attacks and this next card is a topo, I'm going to be able to negate his next swing. Now, really, it doesn't matter because there's no way he doesn't have another card to play, but it's my only way to potentially stay in the game. And just to be funny, he plays the Ready to Rumble just to show me he literally drew all 4. That is super unfortunate for me. Honestly, if he sees 2 Ready to Rumble, it's almost impossible to win. And if he sees 3, it is probably quite literally impossible for me to win the game. So he attacks and he's doing what we would call comboing out. He knows I'm at 1 life. That means this attack is lethal. If this attack goes through, he wins the game. So he's going to combo every single card possible to make sure he buffs this attack as high as it could possibly go. So his attack is huge. I don't even know how big it is. I think it's 55,000, something like that. I've got 2 cards in hand. There's no way I can get out of it. The most I can combo up to, I combo the secret rare. So sad. And I get up to 30,000. That's it. And that's the game. I take my last life, and Johku wins. So I really hope that you guys got some really good insight in how to play the game and a little bit in how the turns are structured. In the next game, we're going to talk a lot more about a little bit more in-depth plays. We're going to get more into autos and different effects. And for the first time, you're going to get to see unison cards and how that changes the pace of play. It's going to be really fun, and I'm really excited to see what happens. I'm definitely the underdog, but I think I can give him a run for his money, to be honest. Blue does a lot with controlling energy and really manipulating it, getting access to more energy than what you should. Red tends to have more aggressive plays, and it also tends to be able to neg power from battle cards. So you're going to see me be a lot more aggressive in the upcoming games than what I was able to do in this game. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and make sure you jump in the giveaway. You can win the decks that we were playing with today and get them sent to you, and better yet, 2 people will get the opportunity as part of the giveaway to win a spot to play with those decks on our YouTube channel. That's like so cool. But again, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
I got the real one problem on my back every day. I got the shed this way, to try whatever way. You got the big boy problem, go to school every day. You got the